Decisions have been made. Most families in the English school boards will be sending their kids back to school physically. College and university students are also preparing to return to class. We get a tour of what it'll look like for those staying in a dorm. Another hot one today, but the sun won't last for long. There's stormy weather ahead, a chance of showers tonight, and that'll continue well into the week. Nick Sirkovich will join us with the full forecast tonight. I'm Katerina Georgieva. Chris is away. School is just weeks away, and as students prepare for what will be an unusual year, the English school boards here in Windsor-Essex have a better idea of who's returning. The Catholic Board says nearly 28% of elementary students have opted for at-home learning and 19% for high school students, though it's still waiting on some more responses. As for public elementary students, about 2/3 will attend in-person classes and about 3/4 for high school students. The numbers show a majority of students will return to classes in person. The CBC's Tamina Aziz is live in studio tonight. Tamina, how are parents feeling after making their decisions?
Kat, those who I spoke with seem a little uneasy about their decisions. One is a mother of two. She's opting for at-home learning. Her kids will be part of Cohort D, so they won't be accessing classes online, but doing their work using paper packages. She says we're still early in stage 3 and cases could increase at any time. Another parent I spoke with had originally opted for at-home learning, but changed her mind yesterday after speaking to the staff and principals of her daughter's schools.
Am I making the right decision? Do I give them a taste of it? Would it be better to leave them home? I'm just all over the place with trying to take into account, my role as a mother, wanting what's best for the children, but also thinking about, the teachers and their families, the whole community, because it's not just about me making a decision for my kids. I feel a sense of collective responsibility for our school community and our community and globally.
Well, it definitely will be different, but I think that if everybody works together and is safe, it will be fine.
I think that I'm not really scared for myself, but if somebody got it in the school and then it spread onto other people, then that might be a little
Jane says she wants the provincial government to put more funding in schools to hire more teachers and reduce class sizes. Meanwhile, another parent who's opting for at-home learning says it's the safest option for her family.
It's hard, especially for the kids, everyone is going, all of his friends are going back to the school. So he's everyone is going, why can't I go? I know everyone is going. And when you are so much resistant to meet them, I know that you will not follow the social distancing and everything.
Khan is a student herself and says if adults are doing only e-learning, kids should too. But there will be time for parents and students to change their minds. Elementary public school students have until the end of first term to transfer from remote to in-person learning. High school students can do so at the end of each quadmester. Students in Catholic schools have until November to make the switch. Kat.
Thanks, Tamina. The CBC's Tamina Aziz. The Ford government says new ads highlighting their back-to-school strategy are keeping parents informed. The opposition says they're a waste of money. The ads highlight the increased safety measures students returning to class will face, such as having to wear masks. But the leader of the NDP is calling them propaganda, saying the money should have been spent on smaller class sizes. Ali Chiasson has the details.
Today's announcements show our government is listening to Etobicoke families.
Etobicoke Centre is getting a new Catholic school
with modern classrooms to accommodate 600 students and 5 childcare rooms.
On the attendance list for today's announcement, MPP Christine Hogarth, Education Minister Stephen Lecce, and Premier Doug Ford, taking questions from reporters who asked about anything but the new Buttonwood School. Like, what about the bus drivers concerned about going back to work?
But we're all over that, and thank you for that question.
We have provided guidance to school boards to ensure the full suite of PPE, not just masks, including face shields, are provided to our drivers.
And then what about these ads promoting Ontario's back-to-school plan, a campaign that will include radio spots, print and social ads, something the opposition called shameful.
He's going to spend public money to try to advertise promote with propaganda his back to school plan instead of using that money to actually put a safe plan in place.
The Premier couldn't say how much the ads cost taxpayers, but says that figure will be made public.
The Auditor General approved the ads.
I fact-checked that, and yes, the AG's office approved the ads.
Running ads is the right thing to do. We're going to continue running ads. I think it's so important that we communicate with the people.
In that same vein, this commitment.
I want to get on the phone, a call with all the school board chairs, their deputy chairs, the directors of education, and we're going to lay out very, very clear, and we're going to answer any questions until there's no confusion.
Many of the school boards and the province have been far apart on the back-to-school issues, and I'm not talking in the physical distancing sense, but about how to do it safely. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Nasal swab tests for COVID-19 can be uncomfortable for adults and even more challenging for kids. In Toronto, researchers and public health officials are now calling for saliva tests to be used in local schools instead. But as Lauren Pelly reports, they're not actually approved in Canada yet. And some experts are asking, what's taking so long?
This is how you get tested for the new coronavirus in Canada. A swab right up your nose.
Imagine giving a nasal swab to a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old.
Toronto health officials want saliva tests in schools instead.
It's less intrusive, it's a little easier, and given that we need to be so proactive with testing in congregate school settings, it could be a really important and helpful way for us to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Certainly we are hearing more and more about this methodology of testing in other jurisdictions.
5 saliva tests have been approved in the U.S., and some are already being used by several colleges and major sports leagues, with results returned from labs in around 24 hours.
These are not a game changer, but they're extremely helpful. They lower the barriers to diagnostic testing.
Here, there's a hitch. No saliva tests have been approved yet by Health Canada.
School is just around the corner, and I feel like we're just lagging behind. We're further behind than we should be on this.
That University of Toronto researcher is adapting a saliva test from south of the border, and he's aiming to get approval to use it in local schools. Teams across the country are working on homegrown test kits as well.
It just seems like we're always playing catch up. I think, as a research scientist, as a clinician trying to work in this area, I can tell you that probably 3/4 of my time is spent dealing with bureaucracy.
Other experts are urging caution, saying widespread saliva testing in schools could overwhelm lab capacity.
You may run into issues with slowdowns and delayed turnaround times.
So far, Health Canada says it's only received 1 application for a saliva test kit. They also told us any applications will be processed as quickly as possible while still ensuring patients' safety. Now, that may not be enough for advocates in Toronto who do want to see saliva testing in schools as quickly as possible, saying it would be as easy as collecting a little bit of spit. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
For post-secondary students in Windsor, most are looking at virtual classes come the fall. But even still, a good chunk of them are still opting for life on campus. So what will residence buildings look like with pandemic measures in place? I got a peek inside at both the University of Windsor and St. Clair College.
They would grab their keys from here if they are moving in, and then go onto their room. We're only allowing 1 helper per individual who's moving in at this time, just to limit the amount of people in the building.
New year, new rules, new questions upon entry at this residence building at St. Clair College.
Do you have a fever, cough, or difficulty breathing?
This residence building is at half capacity as a safety precaution. What are usually 2-bedroom units will now just be used by 1 student.
Oh, I see. So this way you have one room available, and this one nobody can be in here.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so one student has the whole space to themselves.
Yes, so they'll come in and this space is all theirs. They'll have the bathroom to themselves, the kitchenette.
Aside from the laundry room and shared kitchen spaces, all common areas at the residence will be closed. Physical distancing measures mean no more than 1 guest allowed in each room and no visitors from outside the building.
We're going to make sure that they're staying safe, but also having fun, making sure that they meet new people and create those connections that they're going to make at school, but they want to take, and if they move out of residence, who they're going to live with later on.
That means taking social events online, including a virtual Frosh Week.
So once the students start their semester, we're going to have different activities online, such as a virtual concert. We're going to offer virtual bingo. We do have every Wednesday virtual therapy dog sessions where we stand with a dog and just talk to the students just to have that connection virtually.
A similar picture at the University of Windsor. Residents at 25% capacity, single units for the most part, limited shared spaces, virtual orientation and events.
But of course, young adults are going to be wanting to socialize, and so it's going back to education and making sure that they understand that it's really important that they're following the direction that we're giving to them.
But what about parties?
So there will be no parties in residence. Again, we're going to have ample communication on that. Students, there will be no parties in residence this fall. It cannot happen. But when things do open up and we get past this COVID-19 stuff, we've made a commitment to the students to have a post-COVID-19 party such that they've never seen before here on campus, so that we can make it up to them.
And yet, despite the changes, Flanagan explains that for many, residence is their best option, like international students and for those whose home situations aren't ideal for studying.
I think there's just the situation that I was in when I was 19 years of age and I was looking to go off to university as I was done with my parents. I couldn't spend another week with them. The opportunity to get away, come to the University of Windsor from my hometown was I needed to get out of my house, and I did that, and it was the best thing that happened to me. So I'm sure there's some of those students as well.
As for what happens if a student gets sick, at the university, students will likely get moved to Cartier Hall, the designated quarantine building, if needed, with food delivered to them. At the college, they'll stay in their own rooms with groceries delivered to their doors. In the meantime, the local health unit is working with both institutions to review their plans and make sure they're properly prepared moving into the fall. The Windsor Police Service and the Windsor Police Services Board are being sued for $600,000 over a social media post from June. An off-duty officer allegedly posted this photo of workers at the Arby's on Tecumseh Road East. It appears to show two workers taking a knee in support of Black Lives Matter. The photo was allegedly taken by another officer who returned his food to the restaurant after seeing the two workers taking a knee. The officer allegedly said he was refused service. Now, the company that owns the Arby's has launched a defamation suit claiming the post resulted in threats to the business and loss of income. Two officers are also named in the suit. Neither the owner of the Arby's, the Windsor Police, or Mayor Drew Dilkins, who is also the Police Services Board Chair, would comment. The allegations have not been proven in court. After a 20-year-old Michigan woman was declared dead on Sunday, a funeral home discovered she was still breathing and very much alive. The woman was found in cardiac arrest inside her home Sunday morning. The family called 911 and emergency crews responded. Paramedics worked on her for half an hour. According to a statement, the crew determined after medical readings and observing the woman's condition that she had no signs of life. A medical examiner was contacted, given the medical data, and also confirmed the death. The woman was picked up and transported to a Detroit area funeral home on Sunday, and that's when employees there discovered she was still breathing and called 911. Gosh, what a story. You can only imagine what that was like for the family. We do have more news ahead, including a story about monarch butterflies that you'll want to stick around for, and we'll also bring you your weather update with Nick Sternkovich in just a little bit. Erin O'Toole faced the media today for the first time since becoming leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. And he pointed to things that he says make him different from his predecessor, Andrew Scheer, and the Prime Minister.
The Liberals will be trying to work their little spin cycle, and they're already starting. I have a track record of always voting in favor of rights, whether it's the rights of women with respect to choice, whether it's the LGBT community. In my first months as an MP, I was the first Conservative of 18 to support an LGBT bill. I will always stand and defend the rights of Canadians. Justin Trudeau skipped the vote, a very close vote, to attend a Cash for Access fundraiser with the Liberals in Toronto. So you'll see where his priorities are. My priorities will be on Canadians.
O'Toole says he has already spoken to Prime Minister Trudeau about Western alienation, emergency pandemic funding, and the government's decision to prorogue Parliament. We're in the peak season for monarch butterflies. Up in Toronto, this is one of the last weeks people can catch a glimpse. Soon they'll begin their long trek to Mexico for the winter, but fewer will be going than usual. Their population is declining. That's why over the weekend in Toronto, a day was held to educate people about the butterflies. Their mayor even proclaimed it as Flight of the Monarchs Day. Angelina King has more.
Oh, there's one. Yeah. Oh, right over there, yeah. While they may be easy to spot with their bright orange wings, the chances of seeing monarch butterflies are becoming less likely. The population is at risk after decreasing dramatically over the last 15 years.
Another really interesting fact about monarch butterflies.
So, Monarch Nation, run by the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority, has been holding virtual events and activities to educate the public.
It's very well known. It's a beautiful insect. It's something that many children across Canada can see, can identify with, and it's a kind of gateway into conservation.
International experts say the declining population is partly due to a changing climate, but mainly because the monarch's habitat is being destroyed by farming and development.
Unless we're replacing at least 2 million acres of habitat a year, we're losing ground every year.
7 years ago, the eastern population dropped by 95%, the lowest since the mid-1990s. Numbers have started to increase, but their future is still very up in the air. This past winter, North America's eastern population of monarchs decreased by 53%, but there are some things you can do to help, including planting milkweed, this plant right here, which attracts the butterflies. Milkweed is the only plant that monarch butterflies will lay their eggs on, and it's the only plant that the caterpillars will eat. So if you don't have milkweed, you don't have monarchs. You can also help scientists track monarchs by uploading photos if you see them. There's only a few days left to do that this year because Ontario's monarchs will begin their 5,000-kilometer migration this week, arriving in Mexico with millions of others for the winter.
You've got to be there. I'm telling you, it's an emotional experience. You get to these overwintering sites, and you stand there and you look up and you think, oh my God, that butterfly could have come from Toronto.
Then the new generation will make their way back in late spring. They've never been to Canada before, so it's kind of neat to know that they just instinctively know how to get here. And they're hoping to welcome even more back each year. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Nick Sirkovich joins us now for the weather. Nick, it's been perfect monarch butterfly spotting weather, but I feel like that's about to change.
Yeah, it is about to change. Maybe they can get out of here before the storm moves in. I don't know. Anyway, I'm pretty amazed by the fact that they can make that journey without a map or anything. It's pretty cool stuff. They are going to have to deal with a little bit of weather if they are heading south over the next 24 hours or so. We're talking about a warm front that's going to move through, and I'm going to get to that in one sec. For now, great day, 29 degrees right now in Windsor. A little bit cooler as you head further toward the east, but temperatures at or above seasonal with the humidex. Lower than what it was yesterday. If you recall, yesterday we were pushing that 40 mark with the humidex. We lost some of the humidity in behind a cold front, but this is again changing as we head through the next 24 hours. What we're watching is another system that's moving in, and what's going to affect us is the warm front. Now, it's this kind of band of cloud that you see just kind of developing over here, and that's the warm front that's going to move through the region. So if you put the forecast board into motion, by tomorrow morning, certainly by the morning commute, the Windsor area is seeing showers and then thunderstorms moving through. And then as we head through the afternoon, the whole system shifts its way eastward basically running right through southwestern Ontario, lingering showers in behind it, and then it sort of tapers off. And then Thursday, there's a slight chance we're going to see a few spotty showers, but most of the rainfall coming tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon, depending on where you are, starting in Windsor and then moving eastward toward the London area through the afternoon or the late morning hours. There's a look at your forecast. Now, I've thrown the thunderstorm in here for Windsor for the overnight period. That's really, we're talking about sort of 5, 6 a.m. at the earliest. So it's not really an overnight event, but I threw it in there in case we get a thunderstorm kind of leading this. By tomorrow, there's a look at your forecast. Temperatures close to the 30 mark. Humidex also increasing tomorrow as well. The humidex value in Windsor, for example, going up to about 38 by the afternoon. And we've got that humidity sticking around as we head into Thursday as well. Slight chance of seeing a few showers, and then it gets unsettled again. We've got another system that moves in on Friday. That's going to bring showers Friday through Saturday, and temperatures dropping down closer to that seasonal mark. Katerina.
Thank you so much for that, Nick. African health authorities are marking a major milestone in the effort to eradicate polio. I'll bring you that story when we come back. The lawyer for Jacob Blake's family is confirming that the 29-year-old man is paralyzed from the waist down. Blake is the black man shot multiple times in the back by police in Kenosha, Wisconsin on Sunday. The shooting has spurred anger and protests across the U.S. Freelance reporter Nick Harper has more.
Just as swiftly as the first investigation that's going on. That is the first step.
Residents of Kenosha, Wisconsin, demanding action from their city's mayor as he tries to calm the unrest that's been sparked by the police shooting of Jacob Blake. Video footage shows officers shooting the 29-year-old in the back several times as he opened the door to his car on Sunday. The shooting sparked 2 nights of unrest that turned violent in places, with cars and buildings being set on fire. Blake's father says doctors don't know if the paralysis will be permanent. LaQuisha Booker, who told reporters that she was Jacob Blake's fiancée, said that their children were in the back of the car screaming as their father was shot.
My kids is in the car, and we just shooting them with the kids in the back screaming. That don't make no sense, that you treat somebody like that. Who unarmed, not giving you no problem, he ain't throw no punch or nothing.
I asked him, Jacob, did you shoot yourself in the back? He looked at me and he said, no. I said, then why are you sorry? He says, because I don't want a burden on anybody. I want to be with my children, and I don't think I'm going to walk again, Mom.
The officers involved have been placed on administrative leave, and Wisconsin's Justice Department is investigating. Nick Harper, CBC News, Washington.
African health authorities are marking a major milestone in the effort to eradicate polio. It has taken decades, but the continent is set to be declared free of the wild polio virus.
The polio eradication program has a huge footprint of expertise and infrastructure. As we speak, the polio infrastructure is being used to respond to the COVID-19 response.
The conditions for the declaration were set by an independent commission. They included the now achieved goal of immunizing 95% of Africa's population. The World Health Organization also confirms there have been no reports of cases in the last 4 years. But the WHO also warns that African nations must remain vigilant with vaccination efforts to prevent future outbreaks. Wild polio is now only found in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Tropical storm Laura is now a hurricane, gaining strength as it spins toward the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana. This afternoon, the governor of Texas called on residents to prepare for high storm surges and winds of over 200 kilometers per hour as early as tomorrow night.
We have only a few more hours for people to make sure they take the action that is needed to ensure their safety and the safety of their property.
In the eerie calm before landfall, residents who have not been ordered to evacuate are bracing for damage. Louisiana's governor says Laura could end up rivaling the ferocity of the most intense Atlantic hurricane ever that struck in 2005, claiming 120 lives. It is 6:29 p.m. That is it for CBC Windsor News. I'll leave you with another look at that tour I got of the University of Windsor and St. Clair College of what students can expect as they move into dorms in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night.